back at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, if you look at this here, across all occupational categories, the 3 most common jobs for women were elementary and middle school teacher, registered nurse, and secretary or administrative assistant. Now, if you look at among men, the most common job by far was truck driver. There's a whole bunch of parentheses stuff. Where is it at? Truck drivers, and although engineering jobs are shown separately by specialty, in this report, if combined, engineer would be the second most common job for men. So for women, you see that the most common job for a woman is elementary and middle school teacher. And you see their median income, $981. If you look at the most common job for men, it's truck driver, and their median income is $787. So the top most populated job for women is a school teacher, and the most populated job by men is truck driver, and the women make more. So again, it's like comparing apples and oranges. They're totally different things. And then if you look at the next 2, you have registered nurse and secretary or administrative assistant for women. And for men, the next one is engineer. They're totally different. They require different levels of education, different types of education, different type of work, completely different. Here's a couple of other things that will affect statistics if you're simply looking at bottom line, how much a person made per year. It'll affect other things too. Among full-time workers, that is, those usually working at a job 35 hours or more per week, men are more likely than women to have a longer work week. So, and it kind of gives you some data, but it says that statistically, men work more hours. So if you're just looking at, men made 90,000 a year and then women made 70,000 a year, you're going to say, wow, that's an injustice. But the statistic, that particular statistic by itself, it completely ignores, or it doesn't account for hours worked. It just looks at total money earned. And it doesn't take into account choice, human choice, willful choice. So I feel like I'm beating a dead horse here. I mean, there are so many, like any good study that talks about statistics will give you this kind of stuff. Women are more likely than men to work part-time. That's going to affect the averages of men and women's pay. That is less than 35 hours per week on a sole or main job. Women who worked part-time made up 25% of all female wage and salary workers in 2016. In comparison, 12% of men in wage and salary jobs work part-time. So twice as many women work part-time as men. That's going to affect the overall stats. You can't, median weekly earnings for female part-timers were $255 in 2016, slightly higher than the $245 median for men. Part-time workers are more likely to be under the age of 25 than full-time workers. Among part-timers, 29% of women and 44% of men are under age 25. Among full-time workers, 9% of women and 9% of men are under age 25. So again, you have age, you have obviously gender, because men and women are different, but you have age that takes into account how much people work, and then you have the type of jobs are totally different. This whole gender pay gap thing, there's too many things. There are so many different variables that for someone to look at the average of all women, the average of all men, and don't look at anything else and just say they should be equal is ridiculous. And I'm going to wrap up all of this. I'm going to wrap up all of this article stuff, and I'm just going to show you Thomas Sowell.